Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. When it comes to absolutely frying your enemies here in Warzone, you obviously gotta be hitting your shots. And what's the easiest way to hit your shots? Use a weapon that's got low recoil. Today, we are breaking down 5 weapons that have ridiculously low amounts of recoil. So whether you're on console or PC, you can shoot straight, you can fry your enemies, get some nice and easy kills. As we break them all down, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. It really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. That way you can always stay up to date with everything going on in COD. So first up here, we have one of my all-time favorite weapons in Warzone, maybe my favorite weapon ever in Warzone, the Grau 5.56. A lot of you guys might know my channel because of the Grau. This is one of the weapons that it seemed like really blew up on my channel when it first dropped, and to this day it's still one of the lowest recoil guns in the entire game. The pattern here slightly up and to the right, but the bullet spread here is super close, so you're going to consistently be able to land shots. It's a very basic pattern. You're just pulling down and to the left ever so slightly, an exact reverse of what that pattern is, and you're going to shoot absolutely straight. This thing is so easy to use, very little bounce, and like I said, because that bullet spread is so close, it makes landing consistent shots on enemies back to back to back very, very easy. Now, of course, we only got 5 attachments here. The setup is pretty basic, but one that I hold near and dear to my heart. We got monolithic suppressor on there. We're also using the Archangel barrel for the absolute best iron sights in the game. No contest. They work at 20 meters, they work at 50 meters, they work at 150 meters. They're perfect. I love them. I also go ahead and I run the tac laser on here for a slightly better ADS, commando foregrip to help out with that control even more. Then finally, the 50 round magazine works just fine. 60 is a little bit slow for my liking. This setup though, one of my all-time favorites, like I said, and it gets the job done here in Caldera, in Fortune's Keep, or in Rebirth Island. Now the KGM-40, another weapon that is super easy to use. What is perfect about this recoil pattern here is that, yeah, it moves a decent bit horizontally, but it is consistent. It is exactly up and to the right, and it doesn't really ever stop there. So it's the same motion whether you're on mouse and keyboard or if you're on controller, just pulling back into the left there. You don't have to actually account for any S curve, any backwards motion here and there. It's just the same thing all throughout, which is super simple. You'll notice throughout a lot of these recoil patterns, consistency is key in what makes some of these weapons so easy to use. Now the setup here, that recoil pattern is going to become even easier. We got MX silencer, which helps out with that control even more. We're also using the shrouded barrel, again helping out with that control. You could use the 2.5 times optic, you could use 3 to 6. All those are fantastic choices. I personally prefer 3 to 6. For the stock here, padded, better control yet again. This thing's going to be absolutely frying with no recoil. For the underbarrel, I personally still like hand stop the most on here for that better control. These other ones just don't really seem like they're that worth it on any rifles. You can maybe try strife angle. That wouldn't be a bad choice. Both of those though won't steer you wrong. Magazine, just the basic Clouser 60 extended mag, nothing fancy there. Lengthen for the better velocity. We're also going to go for hatched grip on here. That'll help out with some of that horizontal movement and some vertical control yet again. Perk 1, tight grip, better control yet again. Perk 2, we're gonna go for fully loaded to maximize that ammo. This thing is just so easy to use, and it's also one of the top rifles in the game now. Now we do also have an SMG here, one of the easiest to use in the game, the Welgun. This thing shoots slightly up and to the right, but it's very tight spread after like the first 3 or 4 bullets. So landing shots on a target that's 10 meters away from you, 20 meters away, 30 meters away in sort of that sniper support range, it's going to be super simple and super easy. Again, whether you're on console or PC, the thing is going to be extremely reliable. So you can't go wrong with this. It's close range TTK, a little slower than things like the Blixen or the Marco, which have worse control though. So you might be landing more shots at this and in turn be able to outgun some of those other weapons. Here we're going for recoil booster. The shrouded barrel is going to make the control seem super easy, so I absolutely love that. Slate reflector, we're going to throw on remove stock to get back some of that movement that we lose with the shrouded barrel. For the underbarrel, you could go multiple different ways. Skeletal for better movement, pistol grip for better sprint to fire and a better ADS. You could go for compact for a better strafe speed, the steady underbarrel for better control, or hand stop for better control. Although if you want control, I'd go for steady over hand stop personally. For the magazine, Garanko 40, again gonna have no recoil whatsoever. Subsonic to keep us off the map. We're gonna go for the taped grip for better movement. Perk 1, acrobatic for better movement. Perk 2, quick. You guessed it, for better movement. We also have the Automaton on here, and when you look at this recoil pattern here, you might sit there and say that seems like that's a lot of recoil versus some of these other guns which are a lot more compact, right? But this thing is essentially straight vertical, especially if you throw on attachments. So all you have to do is pull straight back. Whether you're on keyboard and mouse or controller, the thing is one of the simplest patterns in the entire game, so anyone of any skill should be able to control this one relatively easily. And because of that, while this doesn't have the greatest TTK, you're gonna land more shots with this versus something that might be bouncing around a little bit more, so its realistic TTK is actually very, very competitive. So here, first up, again, we're going for MX silencer. The 600mm barrel is gonna really flatten out that control and make it, like I said, straight vertical and super easy to use. 2.5 times optic here also helps out with the control a little bit more. Padded stock, better control during sustained fire, so you'll love to see that. Hand stop on there yet again. I like the 75 round Cinemag, tons of ammo for trios and quads. We've got lengthened on there. We've also got hatched on here as well. You could also go for polymer if you wanted to. Both of those are gonna be fine choices. Perk 1, tight grip, better control. Perk 2, fully loaded to maximize that ammo. And then lastly, we have another top rifle of all time, the Kilo. We all know this was the go-to weapon. This was the meta back on Verdansk for quite some time. So there's a lot of pros with this weapon. Yes, the recoil is super easy. When you go ahead and you look at the pattern, and also, by the way, shout out to True Game Data. He's got all these recoil plots on his site. So rather than having to go in and test it in game for yourself, you can always check it out on the site if you got premium, and it makes it super easy. But this is up and to the left, so a bit of a different pattern than some of these other guns, but everything after those first like 3 bullets, that spread is essentially on top of each other. So staying on a target consistently at any range, 40 meters, 80 meters, 140 meters, does not matter. It's going to be super, super easy. Also, we've all used the Kilo by now for seasons on end. We are comfortable with this, and while it doesn't have the greatest TTK past like 80 meters or so, it's still going to be one that you can consistently land shots with very minimal effort. And that is what makes a true top low recoil weapon for any skill level, for any platform. You'll love to see it. Now, MW gun, of course, so very basic setup. Monolithic suppressor. We're gonna go for the Prowler barrel, the longest barrel in this case, so best range, velocity, and control. We got the VLK 3 times optic on there, and of course, we got to go ahead and throw on that T-pose reticle. We're also gonna run the Commando forward grip, and then lastly, we got the 50 round mags on there. Again, 60 and definitely 100, just way too slow and over the top and unnecessary, so 50 works just fine. And you got a weapon here that is super consistent, super easy to use, and like I said, another top all-time favorite for me in terms of what is fun to use, what feels good. Also kind of ACR-esque from MW2, reminds me a lot of that. But that said, those are 5 of the lowest recoil weapons in Warzone right now. That's gonna wrap things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. It does seriously help the channel grow. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, every single day I got you covered with the latest news, updates, loadouts, tips, and everything else going on in COD. So feel free to subscribe. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date. And if you ever want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code WhosImmortal for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak products. The links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.